Hey, welcome to our class today. My name is Cassidy, and we're just going to start with some centering and presencing. So, sitting in a comfortable position with a nice upright spine. Just going to begin to deepen the breath and arrive with awareness. Letting go of the day and coming to this present moment to practice Ananda Yoga, a yoga practice that is about being present as we consciously move energy inward and up the spine towards our spiritual eye. Practice where we can relax and focus our energies on the divine, feeling energies move in our bodies, feeling the benefits of these poses that are designed to liberate stagnant energy from our centers, to assist us in moving them upward and prepare us for the practice of meditation. So let's take a few moments to breathe in this stillness before we begin. Calling on the highest version of ourselves to be present as we practice. Setting an intention if you wish, maybe focusing the mind, maybe being aware of the breath, the body, just being present, whatever you wish, taking a moment as you breathe deeply. And we're going to introduce the diaphragmatic breath here, which is just breathing deeply in through the nose, into the belly, Dirga Pranayama. And so breathing consciously now through the nose, letting the belly rise and expand. Using this breath to energize us and prepare us for our practice. You can have a slight pause at the top if that feels natural to you, and then letting the breath effortlessly fall out. Breathing deeply, feeling the belly rise. And exhaling, letting the length of the exhale match the inhale. We're going to continue with this breath throughout our practice, being consciously aware of using the breath to calm and energize the body and mind. Continuing to breathe deeply, just becoming aware of our vibration. And we're going to Om together to tune ourselves to the energetic vibrations that are moving in the field, that are moving through us. So we'll take a nice deep breath in and then an exhale, and then we'll breathe into Om. Deep breath in to the belly. And exhale. And now breathing into Om. Om. Just feeling that vibration and the stillness after the vibration. And now beginning to wake up the body. Slight movements to begin. And slowly you can begin to come into standing. We're just going to start by just letting the energy neutralize as we change position here. Breathing deeply, and now we're going to begin to warm up by marching in place. Swing the arms, lifting the knees nice and high. Straight spine, head up, chest open, heart open. We're marching, becoming awake and ready in our bodies and minds for this practice, for this class. Continue marching. You can feel the energy pumping up from the legs, up the spine. Beautiful. Warming up the joints of the legs, the arms. Feeling that contraction of the abdominal muscles as the core starts to engage. Awesome. Okay, so on our mats here now, we're going to turn sideways and we're going to do some lunging. So it looks like this. You can come as deeply as you need to as you begin your lunging, and just making sure that your knees stay over your toes. We're going to be bending the front knee and the back knee. So little pulses as you lunge, feeling the thighs. Joe, you can bend your back knee a little bit more if that feels good to you. And you don't have to come down super far, but you want to keep your torso right over your hips. So we're not leaning forward. We're just going straight down to the ground there. Lunging is that left leg, warming up the glutes, the hips, the ankles. Beautiful. Okay. And then coming back to center, and now we're going to step the other leg, the right leg in front. And let's continue to lunge, dropping the hips straight down. Warming up the knees, warming up the hips. Awesome. Okay, a couple more. And then let's turn to face forward here. And we're gonna warm up the rotational muscles of the hips. So let's start by standing on our right leg, and we're just going to do some hip circles, tensing the muscles in the hip as you rotate, keeping the foot close to the ground, but not touching the ground. Do a few circles one direction, about 6, and then let's go the other direction with that left hip rotating. Awesome. And now the other side, rotating the right leg, circles one direction about 6 times. Getting used to balancing a bit as well, as we're going to do some balance poses here today. And switching directions, 6 the other way. Excellent. Now we're going to warm up the rotational muscles and the torso. So keeping your hips facing forward, letting the arms flop around as you twist the body. Getting ready for any rotations we might do in our practice today. Feels good, just letting the spine twist, lubricating those joints. Excellent. A few more. Okay. Now I'll have us turn sideways so we can see the spine. We're going to do a standing cat-cow. So what you'll do is bend your knees slightly so you're Hands are resting on your thighs, and your spine's going to stay nice and straight to begin with. So your chin is tucked, so your neck is also aligned to your spine. Good position, that looks wonderful. And so what we're going to do is begin by arching the back as we breathe in, tilting the pelvis, the bottom of the pelvis upward, and then letting that tilt move up the spine, bringing the head into extension, just as much as is comfortable. And then as you exhale, tucking the pelvis and rounding, warming up the flexion and extension of the spine. Beautiful. And inhaling, tilting into extension, arching the back. Great. And exhale, round. Warming us up for bending forward and backward here. Enjoy that on a couple more rounds of your own breath. And one more, arching and rounding. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to warm up the shoulders. So when you've finished, you can come to face forward again. So we're going to do something called the circle of joy. So what we're going to do is inhale, bring our hands to heart center. And then exhale, clasping the fingers and pushing the palms out in front of us, away from us. And then inhale, reaching upward, hands still clasped. And exhale, releasing the hands, circling them down and around behind the back. Clasping the hands behind your back as you inhale and stretch the arms slightly up and away, opening the chest. And then exhale, hands back to heart center. Inhale here. And exhale, clasping the hands, pushing the palms away. As you exhale, and inhale, reaching up to the sky, stretching upward. And exhale, release, hands circle around behind the back. Inhale, reaching the arms away from you, behind you, hands clasped. And exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do one more. Palms are touching as we inhale. And exhale, clasping, pushing away. Inhale, reaching up to the sky. And exhale, the hands down and around behind the back. One more inhale, stretching behind you. And exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. So last, we're going to warm up the neck. So you're going to have your chin tucked and stretching your head, the crown of your head like a string's pulling it up to the sky. You're going to put a bit of tension in your neck muscles, and you're just going to rotate around small circles, feeling those muscles engaging, feeling the joints moving, and then switching directions. Once you've done about the same number of circles, you're going to let the muscles of the neck relax and do some bigger circles, slow and with control, getting a little bit more of a stretch into the neck muscles, not letting the head flop around though. And then switching directions. Beautiful. Okay. So we're ready to begin our asana practice, and we're going to start with a nice energizing asana, Utkatasana, chair pose. So I'll just demonstrate and then I'll have you guys get into the pose. So a few things we want to make sure of with this pose. We want to keep our spine nice and straight as we move into this pose. And we're going to raise up onto our toes, keeping our arms parallel with the body, and then bend into the knees. This is the stage one of the pose. So we'll hold here and we'll then drop down with our knees bent, relaxing our legs, keeping the spine straight in stage 2 of the pose, if that is comfortable for your body and your practice today. Okay, so that's what the pose looks like. Now we'll begin. If you wouldn't mind turning sideways for me, so just so I can see that everything is safe as you do this pose, and give you some feedback and adjustments if necessary. So you're going to stand nice and tall in your Tadasana to begin your mountain pose. Beautiful. Spine is straight, feeling the energy moving upward and breathing deeply into the diaphragm. On your next inhale, you're going to hold the breath at the top as you come onto your toes and sweep the hands in front of you, holding the breath as you bend the knees slightly to come into phase 1 of this pose. Continue breathing normally here once you have engaged. That looks beautiful. So keeping the energy in the legs are engaged, the hips are engaged, the spine is straight. And you're breathing deeply. Feeling the lightness in your body as you pay attention to the energy raising up the spine. And on our next exhale, we can come into stage 2 of the pose. So slowly dropping the hands down onto the crease of your hips and bending the knees, bringing the sit bones to your heels if that's comfortable for you. Keeping the spine nice and straight, the chest and the belly open, and breathing deeply. Wonderful. You guys look great. And let's mentally affirm here. My body is no burden. It is light as air. Continuing to breathe and feel the energy of that affirmation. Let's enjoy on our next inhale, slowly straightening the legs, reaching the arms up overhead, stretching up to the sky slightly and letting the arms circle down back into that nice tall Tadasana mountain pose. Continuing to affirm as you breathe deeply and feel the energy rising. My body is no burden. It is light as air. Great. Feeling the effects of that pose continue as we move into our next pose, Trikonasana, triangle pose. So now you're going to face forward so that you're looking out over the long edge of your mat. And just to demonstrate this pose for you quickly, what it's going to look like is we're going to step about 3 to 4 feet apart. And we're going to begin by turning the left foot forward. We're going to keep our chest and hips facing forward towards the long edge of the mat. And we're going to breathe in, our arms coming parallel with the floor. And then we're going to lean into the left side, reaching our hand to the left and dropping down into this position, keeping our spine nice and straight and not collapsing into the spine. Okay, so now we'll begin the pose. So once again, stepping your feet out 3 to 4 feet apart, whatever's most comfortable and feels like a nice support for your body. We're going to be keeping our legs nice and engaged through this pose, as well as the muscles of our torso. So let's turn our left foot forward. So the heel of the left foot should be aligned with the arch of the right foot. If you are unable to fully turn your leg out while keeping your hips forward, you may want to turn your right foot slightly in. We don't want to be twisting the knee here. We want to make sure the knee is aligned with our toes on the left foot. So go ahead and make those adjustments, and then keeping the chest and the hips facing forward, let's breathe in, bring our arms out so they're parallel with the mat, reaching out to the sides. And on our next inhale, reaching forward, we're going to bend at the hip joint there slightly And when we have reached as far forward as we can, allowing the left hand to drop down, right hand reaches up, coming into this nice triangle pose, keeping the chest open, keeping the spine nice and long. So we're going to breathe and tuck the chin, rotating the head if your neck feels good in this position. So your eyes are looking up at the right hand. Beautiful. Breathing here, lengthening the spine and keeping that torso engaged, mentally affirming. Energy and joy flood my body cells. Joy descends to me. Feeling that strength and vitality from this pose. On our next inhale, we're going to reach the right arm up, begin to bring the head straight, the torso comes up to vertical, arms drop down to the ear sides, feet turn forward, and pausing here to integrate the effects of this pose. Feeling the energy and joy flooding the body cells. Beautiful. So let's move on to the other side. Now turning the right foot forward to the short edge of your mat. Again, checking that you can keep your knee over your toes here and turning that back foot in if necessary. Doing your best to keep your hips and your chest facing forward here to the long end of the mat. So let's inhale, bring the arms to parallel, palms facing forward. And exhale, begin to reach forward with that right arm, keeping the torso nice and long. And then dropping the right hand down in front of the right leg, not pushing on your knee or putting weight into this hand here. Tucking the chin and looking upwards if you did so on the other side. Feeling the energy and vitality as you reach the left arm up to the spine or the sky, and you keep the spine nice and long, mentally affirming. Energy and joy flood my body cells. Joy descends to me. Awesome. You guys look great. And next inhale, coming out of the pose, reaching up with that left hand, torso coming up to vertical, head facing forward. Bring the right foot forward as well, dropping the arms, breathing and feeling that energy moving up the spine as you relax. Wonderful. Now we can step the legs together, hip width apart. We're going to move into our next pose, which is Vrikasana, tree pose. So I'll just do a quick demonstration here. So this is a balance pose. And one of the main things we want to pay attention to is that we keep energy through our standing leg, that we don't sag into the hip here. So as we keep nice and strong in that leg, and then we're going to turn the opposite leg outward with the hips still facing forward. There's going to be different places we can put our foot. If our balance is a challenge today, you can keep your foot kickstand on the ground like so, with your toes touching. You can also put your foot on your calf or on your thigh, and we want to avoid putting any pressure on the knee. Okay, so let's start this pose now. So rooting down with the left foot, left leg nice and strong and engaged, but we also don't want to hyperextend the knee. So just a slight bend in that knee as well can be helpful. So turning the right foot out and finding your proper foot position here. We're going to be nice and tall in the spine, and let's inhale, circle the arms out and around. Joining the palms overhead. Now dropping the shoulders and pressing the palms together slightly. Chin is tucked with that straight spine, and let's breathe into the belly. Finding a still point in front of us to focus our gaze, a drishti, to help with balance. Feeling the engagement of the legs and the centeredness this pose brings us as we balance and mentally affirm, I am calm, I am poised. Beautiful. And on our next inhale, reaching up to the sky, and exhale, circling the hands down and around, releasing the right leg, coming into that strong, tall Tadasana, continuing to affirm, I am calm, I am poised. Beautiful. Now let's root into the right leg. We'll do the other side. Turning the left knee out to the side as we open the hip, and you'll want to take the same positioning of your leg as you did so on the other side, ideally. So finding that position and staying nice and tall and engaged through that right leg and through the spine. Let's inhale, circle the arms up and around. Palms meet above the head. And then bending the elbows, dropping the shoulders, gently pushing the palms together, and breathing as you focus on that one point that you're gazing to help you balance and center. Mentally affirm, I am calm, I am poised. And on your next inhale, reaching out to the sky, circling the hands down and around, releasing the left foot. Coming into that mountain pose, neutral pose, strong and firm, and focusing the energy upwards towards the spiritual eyes. You breathe and pause. Beautiful. So our next pose is Padahastasana, jackknife pose. So I'll just demonstrate this pose quickly for you here. So what this pose is going to look like, again, 2 phases to the pose. So in the first phase, we're going to be with a straight spine, leaning forward and not letting the pelvis round or the spine round at all. You can bend your knees in this position and pushing the hands against the thighs. We really want to keep our chest open throughout this pose. So first we'll pause here, and then in the second stage of the pose, if it's in your practice, you'll round the spine, keeping the chest forward and reaching down. These types of poses are great for releasing tension and anxiety and mental burdens and massaging our internal organs. So let's do this pose together. So standing nice and tall in that Tadasana mountain pose. If you wouldn't mind turning sideways for me so I can see you. Thank you. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms up and around, lengthening the spine, and exhale, bringing the hands to the thighs, palms pressing against your thighs and hinging forward at the hips, slight bend in your knees, and you're going to be pushing the hands into the thighs as you straighten the spine, lengthening through the crown of your head and through the tailbone. Your legs may even internally rotate slightly. Good. Breathing here, feeling the belly fill with air, feeling the strength and stability in your spine. And you may feel a stretch enough here. You're welcome to stay here if you wish. If you would like to go into the deeper version of the pose, the second stage of the pose, on your next exhale, go ahead and release down, your arms coming towards the ground, spine gently rounding, and you can either let your hands hang heavy, or you can take the mudra grip, grabbing the big toe with your thumb and your pointer and middle finger, keeping the chest forward and open as you continue to lengthen the spine here. Breathing deeply, and as you breathe, you can feel your belly expand against your legs. Relaxing and mentally affirming, nothing on earth can hold me. So preparing to exit the pose, you can bend your knees, and as you inhale, begin to place your hands on your thighs to protect the spine, coming up with a nice straight spine. Let's reach our arms up overhead, stretching the spine long, and then dropping the hands to the side, palms facing forward. You can tuck your chin if you're feeling at all dizzy or lightheaded. Continuing to breathe and feel the energy that we just released with this slight inversion up towards the spiritual eye, mentally affirming, nothing on earth can hold me. Beautiful. Now we're going to pause the video and let somebody else teach. Thank you.
Thank you.